Treasure McWeay, 4 years of age, died on December the 11th, 2023. She had less than an ounce of water in her belly. She weighed just 25 pounds at the time of her death. Her father, Rodney McWeay, from Atlanta, Georgia, has now been charged in regards to Treasure McWeay's murder. He's also been charged with 13 other counts, including first and second degree child cruelty, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. Georgia have done the right thing. He's been held without bond, meaning that he won't be released until he faces trial. I applaud that decision. 2 other children in the home, 2 boys aged 3 and 4, one of whom is autistic, also suffered the same level of starvation and severe neglect. When Child Services finally removed the children from the home in late June, following receiving a complaint about the unsatisfactory condition of Rodney McWeay's home, the boys were found to have scratches to their face, chest, and back. They had contusions and bruises. They were both underweight. In an incident dating back to 2021, the scumbag father allegedly knocked one of his son's tooth out. Again, all of these children suffered. They were starved, they were neglected, they were beaten, they were scratched. Tragically, Treasure McWeay at the age of 4 lost her life due to starvation, weighing just 25 pounds at the time of her death. The alleged abuses spanned from May 2021 to December 2023. However, the father was charged with battery family violence for the very first time in June 2022. So there begs the question, why wasn't the family home investigated previously? Why weren't they reported previously? Where were the doctors? Where were the social workers? Where was the Child Protective Services to monitor the progress, the health, the safety of the children? They were absent, seemingly. Where was the mother? Well, the mother was in Maryland. They had separated, and we're told that 1 week after Child Services finally removed the children from the home in late June 2023, 1 week later, the father traveled to Maryland, where the children's mother, Passion Mitchell, lived. He stole the mother's car, took the children, drove to the train station, parked the car, got on the train with his children, 4-year-old Treasure, the 2 boys, and took them all back to Georgia. The 3 children were contained in one room. They weren't allowed to leave the room. They certainly weren't allowed outside of the house. When police finally searched the property, they didn't find any children's clothing. 3 children lived there, no children's clothing. They did, however, find cameras. Why? We're not quite sure. Perhaps the motive was for security, for monitoring the children's behavior, perhaps. We're not told that it was for any perverted reasoning, but we are told that some of the cameras pointed at the children's beds. So certainly not normal behavior, and this certainly is not a normal father. He starved Treasure McWeay to her death, 4 years of age. Less than an ounce of water in her belly. She weighed just 25 pounds at the time of her death. Family members have stated that the father, Rodney McWeay, had estranged himself from the family, no loss there, and he suffered from an addiction to ketamine, also known as Special K. So he was a drug addict. Should we feel sorry for him because he's a drug addict? Well, I mean, I don't know, to a degree, whatever, but certainly not to the point that he should be granted any kind of leeway when it comes down to sentencing. Again, I applaud Georgia for keeping him jailed or in prison without the option for a bond. He has no chance of being released prior to trial. I applaud that. If the authorities, if the police, if detectives, if investigators are confident enough to charge an individual with murder, then they ought to be smart enough to keep that person behind bars up until trial, in my opinion. Again, Treasure lost her life on December the 11th, 2023, less than a month ago, so I think it's fair to say that the investigation is still somewhat early at this point. We're not told if the father has made a confession. We're not told if he intends on pleading guilty or not guilty. We're not told any of those finer details. Perhaps those details will come to light at some point in the future. But seemingly there's going to be plenty of evidence against this scumbag. Treasure lost her life. The autopsy revealed that she had only an ounce of water in her belly and weighed just 25 pounds at the time of her death. So she was dehydrated, she was starved. Again, there's a litany of other abuse charges laid against him. I have no doubt that this scumbag is guilty. Of course, that is speculation on my part. He deserves the opportunity to go to trial should he choose to do so. Perhaps he won't. Perhaps he'll choose to save the mother the ordeal of having to sit through a trial. Perhaps he'll take a plea deal, essentially plead guilty in the hopes that he gets a lesser sentence, and maybe such plea deals serve some level of purpose. But either way, I hope that justice is served. I hope this scumbag is found guilty, if indeed that is the case, and with that I do hope that he gets sentenced to serve a very long time in prison, and I also hope that fellow inmates and the guards have ample opportunity to speak with him, Rodney McWeay from Atlanta, Georgia, in regards to his treatment of not only 4-year-old Treasure McWeay, who he killed allegedly, but also the mistreatment, the neglect, neglect, the abuse of his two boys, aged 3 and 4, again, one of whom is autistic. The mother, Passion Mitchell, had custody of the 3 children, but the father kidnapped them. He stole her vehicle, took them back to Atlanta, Georgia. She's going to be devastated. We're not told if the 2 boys have been returned to her. I presume that is the case, perhaps not. But either way, I do hope that the boys get all of the love and support that they need moving forward, and I hope that the mother does too. Her life has been destroyed. Perhaps she wasn't the best mother, we don't know, but she had 3 children at the hands of this psychopath, this alleged psychopath. Seemingly they had separated. Perhaps she was a good mother. Perhaps she realized the dangers that fell upon her and her children, and she acted upon that. We don't know that for sure, but either way, best wishes to all concerned. I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you're in a position to consider joining my memberships, please do consider that. Thanks for the couple that have joined my memberships. I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. If you have any articles or cases that you'd like me to cover in my typical style, which is typically pretty brief, if you'd like me to do that, please drop a note in the comment section. Let me know the case. If you've got an article to refer me to, just type out the headline or such. I will look into that. But either way, I'm going to thank you for your time and take care.